I'm 34 years old. Just got back from another disappointing coffee date with some guy from the app. Literally cannot understand what's wrong with men these days. Sitting in my corner office Monday morning thinking about how this keeps happening. I'm objectively a catch. 6-figure salary. Own a condo in the nice part of town. Went to a good school. Take care of myself. But every time I meet a guy, something always goes wrong. This weekend's date was particularly frustrating. Met him at this trendy coffee place downtown. He seemed normal in his photos, worked in IT or something. Showed up wearing khakis and a button down. Already kind of annoyed he didn't dress up more. I'm wearing my nice blazer and everything. We sit down and he starts asking me the usual questions. What do you do for work? What are your hobbies? Blah blah. Tell him about my job, how I manage a team of 15 people. Just closed a major account. He's nodding along, but I can tell he's not really impressed enough. Like, do you know how hard it is to be a woman in marketing at this level? Then he starts talking about his job. Something about network security. Honestly, kind of zoned out because it sounded boring. He's going on about some project and I'm just thinking about how his salary is. Probably not even close to mine. Interrupt him to ask if he's heard about this new restaurant opening downtown. He seems a bit surprised I cut him off. But whatever. The conversation was dragging. Tell him I got reservations for next month already. It's supposed to be impossible to get in. Drop the price of the tasting menu casually, like it's no big deal. I can afford it. He makes this weird face. Asks if I always plan things that far ahead. Tell him, of course, I'm very organized. It's kind of necessary when you're managing major projects worth millions. He nods slowly. Something feels off, but can't put my finger on it. Decide to test him a little. Ask him what he's looking for in a relationship. He gives some generic answer about partnership and shared values. I tell him that's nice, but I need someone who can keep up with my lifestyle. Someone ambitious, driven, not intimidated by a woman who knows what she wants. He's quiet for a second, then asks what I mean by keep up. Explain that I need intellectual stimulation. Someone on my level, someone who understands the demands of a serious career. He asks if I think his career isn't serious. Immediately have to backtrack. No, that's not what I meant. IT is fine. It's just different. He doesn't seem convinced. The date kind of fizzled after that. He says he has to go. Some excuse about meeting a friend. Doesn't even suggest meeting again. Whatever. His loss. Get to work Monday and tell my colleague Jennifer about it. She's been married for like 10 years, so she doesn't get the struggle. She listens and then asks, kind of carefully, if maybe I came on too strong. Excuse me? Tell her I was just being myself. If he can't handle that, then he's not right for me. She does this thing where she bites her lip, like she wants to say something but doesn't. This is why I don't talk to her about personal stuff. Later that day, sitting in a meeting with the executive team, pitching a new campaign strategy. The CEO, Richard, is there along with the CFO, Marcus. I've prepared an entire presentation, data-driven, comprehensive. 15 minutes in, Marcus interrupts with a question about the budget. Politely explain that I was getting to that. It's in slide 23. He leans back and says, "Maybe I should jump to that now since it's kind of important." Feel my jaw. Tighten but smile. Skip ahead to budget slide. He starts asking questions about the ROI. Projections. Defend my numbers. They're solid. I spent weeks on this. Richard asks if I've considered an alternative approach. Starts describing something that's basically a worse version of what I already propose. Have to carefully explain why my way is better without sounding condescending. They finally approve it, but I can tell they weren't enthusiastic. This happens literally every time. They never question David's presentations like this, and he's the director of sales. After the meeting, Richard asks if he can have a word. Oh, great. What now? He says the presentation was good, but maybe I should work on being more flexible when fielding questions. I tell him I was being flexible. I answered all their questions. He does this sigh, says something about tone and receptiveness. I'm receptive. I'm literally always receptive. I take feedback better than anyone on the team. He says, okay, and drops it. But I can tell he doesn't believe me. This is the kind of thing I deal with constantly. My assistant knocks and reminds me I have lunch with my mother. Fantastic. Exactly what I need today. Meet my mom at her favorite bistro. She immediately asks about my dating life. Tell her about Coffee Guy. She listens and then says, well, sweetheart, maybe he was intimidated. Yeah, Mom. Obviously, he was intimidated. That's the problem. Why are men so intimidated by successful women? She gets this look on her face. Ask if I ever considered that maybe it's not about success. What else would it be about? She says something vague about connection and making people feel valued. I make people feel valued all the time. I literally manage 15 people, and they all respect me. My team performs better than any other department. Mom says that's work. Relationships are different. Tell her relationships shouldn't be different. They should be equal. Partnerships. She agrees, but says equal doesn't mean keeping score. I'm not keeping score. I just know what I bring to the table, and I expect the same in return. She pats my hand in that annoying way. She does. Says, I'll figure it out. Get back to the office, and there's an email from HR. Apparently, there's been some complaints about my management style. Are you kidding me? The email is vague. Something about creating a more collaborative environment. Immediately know it's probably Trevor. He's been on my team for 6 months and constantly misses deadlines. Had to have a serious conversation with him last week about his performance. He literally said he was doing his best. Told him his best wasn't meeting the standard required for this team. Maybe that was harsh, but it's true. If I don't maintain standards, the whole team suffers. Respond to HR saying I'd like to discuss this in person. Get a meeting scheduled for Thursday. Spend the next few days fuming about it. Thursday comes and I meet with Janet from HR. She's younger than me, probably never managed anyone in her life. She starts off with the whole this isn't punitive, just a conversation thing. Asks me to describe my management philosophy. Tell her I believe in high standards, clear expectations, and accountability. She nods and writes something down. Then says several team members have reported feeling under valued and micromanaged. Micromanaged? I literally give them autonomy once they prove they can handle it. The problem is, half of them can't handle it. Janet says that different people respond to different management styles. Tell her that's fine, but we have targets to hit, and I can't coddle people. She winces at the word coddle. Asks if I've considered that leadership is about bringing out the best in people. That's literally what I do. I push them to be better. If they can't handle being pushed, maybe they're in the wrong field. Janet is quiet for a moment, then says that the company values emotional intelligence as much as results. I have emotional intelligence. I'm aware of my emotions, and I'm aware of theirs. That doesn't mean I have to lower my standards. She says she's going to recommend I attend some leadership training. It's not mandatory, but highly encouraged. Leave the meeting feeling completely misunderstood. Nobody gets that being nice all the time doesn't get results. That weekend, decide to take a break from dating apps. Go to a networking event instead. Might as well focus on career stuff. It's at this hotel ballroom. Lots of people from various industries. Spot an interesting conversation happening near the bar. Group of people talking about emerging markets or something. Join the conversation. Introduce myself. There's this guy, probably late 30s, decent looking, well-dressed. He's talking about some investment strategy. I mentioned that I've been looking into similar opportunities. We end up talking one-on-one while the others drift away. His name is Andrew. Works in finance. He seems actually intelligent, asks good questions, tells me about his work managing portfolios for high net worth clients. Okay, now this is promising. We talk for like an hour. He asks if I want to grab dinner sometime. Absolutely. Finally, a man who seems like he's on my level. We exchange numbers and set something up for next week. Spend the next week feeling optimistic. Maybe Andrew will be different. The day of the dinner, I get there first. It's a nice steakhouse, upscale but not pretentious. Andrew shows up right on time. Good sign. We order drinks and start talking. Conversation flows pretty well at first. He tells me about a difficult client situation he handled. I tell him about my recent presentation to the executive team. Mention how Marcus questioned my budget. Andrew asks what Marcus's concerns were. Tell him they were unfounded. My numbers were solid. Andrew asks if I considered his perspective anyway. I mean, sure, but he was wrong. Andrew gets this thoughtful look. Says that sometimes people raise objections not because they're wrong, but because they need to feel heard. Okay, weird thing to say, but whatever. Tell him I hear people all the time. I'm literally in meetings all day hearing people. He smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Asks about my team. How many people I manage. Tell him about the 15 people. Mention the HR situation. Frame it as them being too sensitive. Andrew asks what the specific complaints were. Tell him micromanagement and feeling undervalued. He asks if there might be any truth to it. Whose side is he on? Tell him no. I know how I manage. I'm actually very hands-off once people prove themselves. He asks how long it usually takes for people to prove themselves. Depends on the person, but usually a few months. He nods slowly. Says in his experience, people perform better when they feel trusted from the start. Tell him that's a nice idea, but Not realistic in a high-stakes environment. He doesn't argue, but I can tell he disagrees. Conversation shifts to other topics. We talk about travel, books, normal date stuff. I mention I just got back from a conference in San Francisco. Stayed at this amazing hotel. Had a suite overlooking the bay. Company paid for it, obviously, but it was still incredible. Andrew mentions he was in San Francisco last month, too. Asks where the conference was. Tell him the Moscone Center. He says he was there for something different. Stayed at a smaller hotel. I ask which one. He names some boutique place I've never heard of. Tell him he should try the place I stayed next time. It's much better. He asks if I've stayed at the place he mentioned. Well, no, but I can tell from the website. He just says, okay, and changes the subject. Something feels off. Again, I can't tell if he's annoyed or what. Decide to ask him directly about what he's looking for in a relationship. Might as well know if we're compatible. He gives a thoughtful answer about mutual respect and growth. Tell him that. Sounds good. I need someone who respects my career. Someone who won't feel threatened by my success. He asks, do you think men are generally threatened by successful women? Obviously, yes. It's like a proven fact. Tell him about all my failed dating experiences. Guys who couldn't handle that I make more money. Guys who were intimidated by my position. Guys who wanted someone more traditional. Andrew listens to all this, then asks, do you think maybe it's not about your success? What else would it be about? He says, carefully, maybe it's about how you relate to people. I relate to people fine. Literally have tons of friends. My team respects me. I'm doing great at work. Andrew says work relationships are different from personal ones. In work, there's a hierarchy. People have to interact with you. In personal relationships, people choose to be there. Okay, what is he implying? Tell him I understand the difference. People choose to be friends with me, too. He asks how many close friends I have. Have to think about it. I mean, there's Jennifer from work, though we're not that close. There's some women I knew from college, but we don't talk much anymore. There's my book club, though I had to stop going because they kept picking terrible books. Told them we should choose more literary stuff, and they got weird about it. Andrew is watching my face. Says, so, not many. I have friends. They're just busy. Everyone's busy. He nods, but doesn't look convinced, starting to get annoyed with this interrogation. Ask him how many close friends he has. He says 5 or 6 people he talks to regularly. Must be nice to have that kind of time. Tell him I'm focused on my career right now. Friendships can wait, he says. Relationships and friendships are what make life meaningful. Career success is great, but it's not everything. Cannot believe this. Tell him career success is extremely important. Actually, especially for women who've had to fight twice as hard for half the recognition. He agrees that's true and unfair, but says that doesn't mean alienating everyone around you. Alienating? I don't alienate people. People alienate themselves when they can't handle a strong woman. Andrew puts down his fork. Says, I need to be honest with you. Oh, here we go. He says I seem like a very accomplished person, but this whole dinner has been exhausting. Excuse me? He says, You've spent the entire time talking about how great you are, how wrong. Everyone else is how you're always, right? And everyone else is threatened or incompetent or too sensitive. Tell him, that's not fair. He asked me questions and I answered them. He says, yes, but you haven't asked me a single question about myself. You've dismissed or contradicted almost everything I said. When I mentioned my hotel, you immediately said yours was better, without knowing anything about mine. I was just making a suggestion. He says, it's not about the hotel. It's about a pattern. Says, every story I've told tonight has been about me being right and someone else being wrong. My team, my executives, my dates, even my book club ask if I've ever considered that maybe, just maybe, I might be the common denominator. Cannot believe what I'm hearing. Tell him he doesn't know me. He can't judge my whole life from one dinner. He says I'm right. He doesn't know me because I haven't let him know me. I've just presented a resume of accomplishments and complaints. Stand up from the table. Tell him, I don't need this. I'm a successful, intelligent woman, and if you can't handle that, fine. He stays seated, says quietly, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Tells me I'm using my success as a shield. Any criticism, clears throat, any feedback, any moment of vulnerability gets deflected with, you're just threatened by a successful woman. Says, it's not about success. It's about being so defensive and competitive that nobody can get close to you. Tell him he's wrong and grab my purse. He says, I hope you figure it out someday. I really do. Leave the restaurant fuming. Get home and pour myself a large glass of wine. Sit on my couch in my expensive condo looking at my framed degrees on the wall, my awards from work, my perfectly decorated living room that I picked out myself. Check my phone. No messages. Open the dating app. Scroll through matches. All these men who probably won't measure up. Think about what Andrew said. He's wrong. Obviously, he just couldn't handle me. But then think about Coffee Guy, and the guy before that, and the one before that. Think about the HR meeting and Richards. Comment about my tone, and my mom saying, I'll figure it out. And Jennifer's careful question about coming on too. Strom. Pour another glass of wine. Maybe I should text Andrew and explain myself better. No, he doesn't deserve an explanation. He was rude and judgmental. Open my texts anyway. See the last conversation with my college roommate from 3 years ago. I told her I was too busy to visit when she had her baby. She never responded. Scroll further back. There's my cousin asking me to be in her wedding. So I said I'd have to check my work schedule. She said never mind and pick someone else. Keep scrolling. Just a lot of conversations that ended with me sit there for a long time. Finish the bottle of wine. Look around my empty apartment. Think about going to work tomorrow. Another day of meetings where I have to fight to be heard. Another evening alone. Another weekend with nothing but work. Emails and meal prep. My phone buzzes. It's a LinkedIn notification. Someone endorsed me for leadership. Stare at it for a while. Then at my reflection in the darkening TV screen. Sitting alone on my couch in my expensive clothes with my successful career and nobody to share it with. Andrew's words echo in my head. You're using your success as a shield. Take out my phone and start typing a response to him. Deleted. What would I even say? That he's right? He's not right. He can't be right. I've worked too hard to be told I'm doing everything wrong. Put my phone face down on the coffee table. Sit in. Silence. Just me and my accomplishments. Exactly what I wanted, right? Check my work email. There's already stuff for tomorrow. At least work makes sense. Work has clear metrics, clear goals, clear rewards. Not like relationships with their messy feelings and unspoken expectations. Tell myself I'm better off this way. Independent, successful, strong. Don't need anyone. Definitely. Don't need some finance guy telling me how to live my life. But sitting here in the quiet looking at another Friday night alone on the calendar. Another wedding invitation I'll attend. Sorta. Another promotion celebration with no one to tell. Maybe he had a point. Just a small one. A tiny one. No. No. He was wrong. They're all wrong. I'm fine exactly as I am.
For the last
Drops from the wine bottle. Toast to myself in the empty room. To success. To independence. To being right. Always being right. Even when I'm alone.